this tech blog, I'm just going to cover some basics about the iBook um, on your computer and how there's some really good resources you can get to through iBooks. And whether you do this on your computer or you can also access this on your iPad, just going to show you just a few good resources. And of course, many of you have been going through the Apple Teacher certification and have found some of those really good books that Apple's provided. But there's some other good ones on there as well. I just want to show you my tips to kind of get to those quickly. So I've just launched iBooks, and iBooks for me is down here in my dock, and it should be by default there. If not, remember you go up here, the little magnifying glass. You can always search for iBooks and launch that. Hopefully you got an Apple ID and you've already plugged that in to iBook. And if you ever wonder where that is, notice under, once I've launched iBooks, under Store, you can see you've got a place where you can sign out, you can sign in. You can see I'm signed in with that ID right there for djensen62 at mac.com. So there's my iBook. And so I've got, currently these are iBooks I've downloaded, and up here at the top you've got iBooks, you've got collections, authors, blah, blah, blah. And of course you can look at books, and don't forget iBooks also is a great PDF reader as well. And so you can download PDFs in there also. But we're going to go look for some other ones. I just want to show you some other resources that I think are pretty good. So we're going to click on iBook Store up here in the top left. And when I do that, it's going to launch me and take me out to the store. And then, of course, up here at the top, you've been in iBooks before, or if you're new to it, there is your library, which takes you back to what iBooks you've downloaded. And then up here at the top, Apple has attempted to kind of organize it by featured, top charts, New York Times, ignore that, but categories and top authors. And so, so we're going to kind of look at a few good ones. And there's a lot of stuff in here. Of course, some is free, some is has a cost to it. There is an app later we can talk about. We've offered some classes on it called iBook Author on the computer, which you can actually make your own iBooks, or students can do that as well. We've had some students do that at the high school and a few at the middle school and so forth. And so pretty cool. But up here at the top, I'm going to click on Featured on here. And then down here at the bottom, about a third of the way, it has popular categories, and you'll see different ones, and there's a lot of non-educational stuff in there too, so a lot of fun stuff you can get to. But I'm going to go to click on this blue one that says Browse by Category. You also have some quick links over here on the side. You can get to that same thing there as well. Notice over here on the right it says Browse by Category. So either way will get you there. So I'm going to tap on that. It's going to take me to a little easier to view window to kind of help me narrow down my search. And of course, you always have a search up here at the top, but it can get pretty deep pretty quick. But what I'm looking for, since we're talking about education, we're going to look for education. And notice here all the different ones that are in here. Again, a lot of other stuff in here: computer and the internet, textbooks, sports and outdoors. I mean, there's just all kinds of other iBooks, digital books, podcasts. All of that is in here as well. We're going to stick with education, so I'm going to tap on education here. And it takes me to the educational window in the iBook store, where it's got a lot of coding stuff you can see up here, Swift language, different things that are going on in there. And the one that we're really looking for under Learning Resources here is called Featured Collections. And this one's going to get me to some really good educational iBooks very quickly in here. And so I went to categories, then I went to collections, and now look at this. I've got some really good featured collections. One of those I talked about earlier in the year was Toon University. There you can see a book that he's got put out there, pretty cool for creating and utilizing GarageBand. But the one we're looking for up here, here's Apple Education. So if you've done some of the Apple teacher stuff, you'll find those there. Apple Education, Apple Teacher. And then over here, you can see there's the group of Apple Distinguished Educators that actually have created a lot of coursework and some really good lesson ideas. And so if I tap on that one here, it's going to drop me out and take me into some featured courses that are going on with various categories, and you can check those out. You've got notice for primary school, you've got some lessons for middle school, lessons for secondary. So those are kind of cool. You might want to check out those as well. And then to the right, if you don't want to go down the course path, then of course you have distinguished books. And so if you click on the Apple Distinguished Books, you're going to find that a number of educators throughout not only the United States but other parts of the world have put together some really great free resources to get to for utilizing both the iPad or the computer in the classroom. And some of them are very app based, some of them are more general and just really good. And notice they're broken out by different categories or subject areas, from language arts to math to science, computer science, and so forth. And so there's even some that have been in there for a little while, a year or so. One Best Thing, these are some other good ones as well that have been put together. So you can kind of navigate through any of these. Notice there's some on some programming, but just some really good basic ones as well in there. So here's on assessment, content and creation, different things you can find. And so these will give you some maybe other lesson plan ideas that you could start to incorporate with some of the apps you have on the iPad, or maybe some other online resources that are out there as well. And so you can just kind of navigate through, find one, and go into it. Digital leaders transforming, right here is one. And just jump into it. So kids, I'll just click on this one here. Notice if you click on the Get, it may prompt you to put in your Apple ID and password, but it should just download it. Notice it's going to download that. It's going to drop it into my library on my computer or on my iPad. And then, of course, it's just a digital book I can go through and check out and see if it's a decent resource. The key thing to remember is if you find one that works and you really like it, share it. Tweet it out, send an email to some other staff in your building or at your grade level and say, hey, check this out because this is a really good one. I think you'd like it. And so just some really good resources you can find. I'll go and search for some others later and kind of share those. But notice if you click on that little down arrow on those as well, you can very easily copy a link to one of those. If you find one, not only can you download it, but you can copy the link. Then you could email it. Notice you could tweet it. You could Facebook it. You could, all kinds of things you can do with that as well. So once you find one, share it out. That's what makes education go. So hope you take some time to check out iBooks. It's just a really awesome resource. Start downloading those books, and here's that one I just downloaded. Open it up, and some of them, have videos in them. Some of them have just different resources in there. So I urge you to kind of check them out. So hope that helps.